Welcome to another exciting episode of the Banking on Community podcast. Please give me a warm welcome to Daniella Rosa, the founder of AIEA Golf. I think I got that right.
Yes, you did.
Daniella is changing the game in the golf industry with her innovative approach to fashion, technology, and Web3 integration. Recognizing a gap in the market, which I think is fantastic how you found that gap. You're telling me the story beforehand, but Daniella launched AIEA Golf in 2022, revolutionizing women's golf apparel and creating inclusive and unforgettable community experiences. Without further ado, let's welcome Daniella Rosa to the Banking on Community podcast. Daniella, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you. I'm excited to be here.
Somewhat new to Austin as well.
Yes, just a few months old.
That's amazing.
I know.
You've got a great story, and I can't wait to get started.
Oh, good.
So tell us a little bit about your background in golf.
So I have been golfing for over 20 years now. I grew up in Naples, Florida, and
there's no golf down there.
There's none, absolutely none. So it was the first one, but so like anyone that grows up in Florida, you kind of get ingrained in the golf world in some capacity at some point. And my journey started when I was about 12 years old. My dad got me onto the school team, and I learned how to golf from there. I hated it for a number of years, did not like golf. I thought, this is weird, this is hard. I don't know, I don't understand the movements.
It's still weird and hard for the rest of us.
It's very weird and hard, I know. And I wanted to do something cool. I wanted to play tennis or basketball, but I'm glad I stuck with golf. I continued to play a bunch of sports, stayed with golf, and continued to play pretty competitively for a number of years.
And then you had a decision that you were telling me that you were going to maybe continue on in school.
Yes.
Then something along the way changed in your mind.
Right. So I was playing through high school. I had the opportunity to play in college. I went to Notre Dame. I decided not to play in college. I wanted to have the real college experience. I wanted to go to every football game. I wanted to fully have every tailgate experience I could have while still learning everything I could. And so I decided not to play collegiate golf.
Yeah? Are you glad you did that?
I am glad I did that. It got me away from the competitive side of things. And now I regained a sense of fun within golf.
When you're playing now? Yeah,
when I'm playing now, more of a social side.
What inspired you to start AIEA Golf?
So I've been playing casually, socially since then for, again, almost 20 years now, over 20 years. And fast forward from college to 2021, something that's been consistent over the past number of years is the thing I cannot find still to this day are women's golf apparel options that aren't ugly, frankly. There are a lot of things that...
Which is surprising given the growth of the women's golf sport itself, which is huge.
Right, exactly.
That the manufacturers haven't kept up with.
Right, it hasn't caught up for whatever
apparel.
reason.
Yeah.
So July 2021, I had an aha moment. I was out in Colorado with my family, and we were going to play golf. I was in the pro shop, and I wanted something cool that said Telluride on it to take back home. And I was looking in the pro shop. I looked in the women's side. Of course, there's only one rack, and half the things are on sale because everything's ugly and no one in their right mind would buy them anyways. So I said, same old, let me go to the kids section, just see what's there, just to look. I found this little girl's shirt, could barely fit over my thigh. And it had a tie-dye pattern with mesh sleeves. And I held it up and I said, if this was in my size, I would buy 10 of these. And I have never had a moment like this in my life, but I basically blacked out. I had what I think was a God-sent moment where I knew at that point in my career, I was in the auction world before, I knew I was going to leave my career of 10 years. I didn't know what I was going to do. I wanted to go out on my own in some capacity, didn't know what that looked like yet. I'm very involved in the golf world already. I am my own target market. I consider myself relatively fashionable and entrepreneurial. And something in me said, why don't you take a stab at making women's golf apparel, a next generation of women's golf apparel? So 6 months later, I quit my job. And a year and a half in, I'm building my AIEA Golf baby still to this day.
That's really awesome. So before we go much further, quickly, you're from Florida.
Yes.
You found your way to Notre Dame to go to school. What were you studying there?
I was studying political science and art history with the intention of going to international art law.
And then you get out of college and you end up
in the auction world.
The auction world.
Yes. So I didn't want to do art law, but I wanted to stay in the art world. And I fell in love with the market side of the business instead. So the cyclical nature of it, I loved the buying and selling. I loved how fast paced it was.
And that was in New York.
And that was in Chicago
Oh,
and
it was
New York.
in Chicago and New York.
In New
And you
York,
went to
yes.
work for Sotheby's. Is that what you did?
For Phillips.
For Phillips, which
Phillips.
is part of
Yeah, there are three big auction houses, Sotheby's, Christie's, and Phillips. Phillips is right in there.
Phillips is right in. Okay,
Yes.
so it's Phillips you went to work with.
Yes, right on Park and 57th in New York. And I learned everything I needed to know from that auction house. And I was specializing in vintage watches at that time. So the past 5 or 6 years, vintage watches has been my specialty as well.
Which has been pretty hot.
Very
in and of
hot,
itself, right?
Very hot. It's a weird industry, but I loved every minute of it. I learned so much about people, places, and things.
Did you
Put it that way.
did you have any entrepreneurial exposure in your family, friends, neighbors?
Yes. So my dad is off the boat Italian. He grew up in Italy, immigrated to New York, rags to riches story, and he hustled his way up in the New York corporate ladder to own a commodities trading business.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
So you had a little bit of exposure to
did.
what hard work does.
Yes, absolutely.
And running with your own ideas.
Yes, exactly. And then my mom was
Fascinating.
in real estate, so it was
So
the merging of those two.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, so we understand you've had this epiphany and you realize that somebody's got to make nice stuff for the women that play golf.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you launch AIEA Golf. How did you launch it? What did you do? Did you just decide one day how'd you come up with the name? Let's start there.
Yes. So
AIEA.
Yes.
AIEA Golf.
correct. So that also came in my aha moment. So the letters in AIEA are just the vowels of my first name, Daniella. So
Oh, wow.
AIEA. So it's my way of saying Daniella's golf brand without saying Daniella's golf
Perfect.
brand. That's it.
It's kind of
That's
like not
literally it.
calling it Jeff's Bank
Exactly.
instead of Keystone Bank.
And then when I trademarked the name, I found out AIEA is a city in Hawaii. So I'm like, well, now I have to do an event there.
You're going to have to go.
Obviously.
That's great. What a
Obviously.
story. Okay,
Yes.
so we're off and running. We come up with a name.
Yes.
And what's your first move?
My first move is figuring out what I'm doing. I knew nothing about manufacturing, so I dove into a manufacturing course, started studying all that side of things. I didn't know how to get off the ground in a way of where do I source fabrics? How do I even find a manufacturer? I want to do sustainable clothing. How do I do that? The fashion industry is so big and the manufacturing world is even bigger. And it's one of those things that I really had to almost make 20 mistakes before I found the one that did well while still sticking to my vision. So I found that with my style of clothing and the custom gear that I wanted to make, there was a lot of push to do, why don't you get blank t-shirts, blank shorts, whatever, slap a logo on it, start a golf brand. And I said, look, if I could have done that 5 times already. Anyone could have done that 5 times already. Yes, I'd be making $20,000 a month from selling a hat or something, but there's a reason why I'm going into this space. It's because I want women in the golf world or people that want to be exposed to golf to feel good with what they're wearing, so it makes you play better. Really, I want to.
Well, that was kind of my next question, and I'm glad you touched on it. It was like, what specific gap or need are you trying to identify in the market for women's golf and the community experiences that the women's golf community? And it sounds like we're there. You're already there. So you're saying I don't want to just sell apparel.
Right. I didn't get into this to sell my logo on a T-shirt. I really didn't. So I'm making clothing that is custom made to the woman's body. So a few things are missing in women's golf apparel right now. One is the fit. The fit, for whatever reason, all women's golf apparel is basically pared down menswear still to this day. So the shirts are boxy. They're made for a man's body, so it doesn't fit correctly in the bust. Then you have the bottoms, you have the shorts and the skirts. Everything's too short or too long, doesn't fit right in the hips. And don't even get me started on patterns. I don't know who approves them, but they continue to come out every year and they're all ugly.
They're pretty atrocious.
They're very atrocious. So
how big of a market is women's golf apparel?
It's getting bigger every year. I think that's the largest market when it comes to new golfers in the area.
Is that right?
Space. Yes.
It's
yes. Women. That's the biggest market right now.
Interesting.
Yes.
Is that across the world? Similar? Is that a U.S.
I would think
base?
so.
Yeah.
I know Asia's a big space for that
Asia's
too.
huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah. Well, so how does AIEA Golf differentiate itself from other traditional golf apparel brands, and what are some of the unique features or experiences that you're offering your clients? And tell us a little bit about your progress so far in selling your stuff.
Sure. So going back to the actual look of the clothing, that was one thing that I wanted to be very different. So my style, again, is away from the traditional style of clothing. I personally don't like the collar, the traditional collar. I don't like the fits of the shorts and the skirts and the tops that are provided today. So I wanted to create a style that was basically meant for me and that catered to my needs. And that is more of an elevated athleisure style, a chic city style. So you can walk from the golf course to the streets of New York, to a simulator golf center, to dinner, and you don't look like you came off the golf course. You don't look golfy, but it's still elevated. And the clothes can translate easily from a traditional golf course in Naples, Florida, to a very casual golf setting at a similar golf course or whatever. So I have 3 products out right now that I was able to have manufactured myself last year, and I'm calling that my pre-launch collection.
And what does your pre-launch collection look like?
So that's 3 items. That's sunglasses, socks, and a shirt that I custom made with eco-friendly fabrics, which I wanted to do. So I have those 3 products, which I launched in January, which are great, and they're doing really well. I'm getting a lot of traction with them actually here in Austin. A lot of men have been buying my socks actually too.
I think that's awesome.
Which is great. I know. I'm like, hey, represent. So
that's awesome.
I know.
So do you sell currently all just online?
Everything's online. I do pop-ups in the area.
Oh, you do?
Yes. So
what do you do? Do you go to the golf clubs or do you go more towards traditional where there's a lot of people shopping?
So I have one of the things that I do normally, but I wanted to do when I moved to Austin was really ingrain myself in the golf community here. One thing that I love about Austin is the community aspect is so important. So there are a number of women's golf groups in the area, which is wonderful. So I join them, I play with them, and then I have my little pop-up shops at certain events that they have.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just set up a table and I have some things to just show what my brand's all about, who I am, what I'm doing.
Did you by chance, were you happen to be at Austin Country Club by chance when the Dell match play, when its final year was here in the spring?
I was there.
No
It was
way.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
I had a great time.
Did you sell anything? Did you make any contacts?
Someone wanted to buy my sunglasses off of me.
Oh, really?
I know.
That's
so
pretty awesome.
They're a little bit sweaty. But
so what's your website?
It's AIEAGolf.com.
So
www.AIEA.
AIEA. AIEA Golf.com.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yes.
How are sales? Are they trending upward?
They're trending upward.
Great.
It's a slow, steady race. The one thing about being an entrepreneur is you can't. My timeline in my head, I wanted to go big last November, and now I know that's not reality.
It just takes a little bit of time.
It takes a lot of time, and that's okay. I'm learning.
You got to keep driving.
You just got to keep going every day.
That's great.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned the word community others. So how do you foster a sense of community within AIEA Golf? And what initiatives or programs do you have in place to connect and engage with your customers? Tell us a little bit about that. And remember, I understand you've just been at this for a very short period of time.
It's true.
You strike me as someone that's already thought about all this stuff and already have plans.
It's true. I am like that. So
yeah.
Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah.
So again, I didn't get into women's golf apparel space to slap my logo on something. I wanted 2 things. One was custom gear made for women that want to play golf or not, but mostly for golf. 2 is building community in that space. So the other thing that's missing in the golf world right now is a way for women at any skill level to get together and say, hey, I've never hit a golf club, or I played 10 years ago, I want to learn how to play again, or I play 18 holes twice a week. There's nowhere that we can all get together that in a space that doesn't feel scary, frankly, where people aren't coming up to us and asking what's our handicap, and we can just play and have fun and learn and get to know each other and build community in that way too. So it feels more engaging.
So that's how you're plugging in.
Yes.
Very smart.
Yes, but part 2 of that is that I have a membership program that I'm building under the AIEA Golf umbrella, and that's a membership that I'll be launching at the end of this year, beginning of next year. And it's called a season pass. It's an annual membership, and it's basically rewards you for being part of the AIEA ecosystem. But within that, you get benefits. So you get discounts for AIEA golf gear, discounts for affiliate programs. You get in real life events. I'm going to put on golf tournaments, clinics, things like that, just to bring women together in this space to make everyone feel included, engaged in the name of fashion and golf.
That's fascinating.
Yes,
You are going to be busy.
I know.
And you're going to do it all yourself.
I'm doing it myself.
Not for very much longer.
No.
I have a feeling you're going to need some people soon.
I do.
It won't be long.
Okay.
So can you share any success stories or memorable experiences that AIEA Golf has created for women's golfers?
So I would say my biggest success story right now is because I'm doing everything myself. I don't have a ton of marketing quite yet. I'm still figuring that out, but I have had a number of high school and collegiate golfers reach out to me through the AIEA Golf Instagram page and just say how excited they are about what's coming, what I'm doing, that I'm changing the game in a way that's more relevant to today's golfer, you know, what they need, what we need. The casual golfer doesn't want to always feel so stuffed in. They want to have fabrics that are breathable. They want to have a way to engage with community that doesn't mean, oh, I have to join a golf club or go to a simulator golf place where I'm the only woman there. So there's a lot of connections with this next generation of golfers too, and they're finding me, which is wonderful.
And
so,
that's through your social media.
Social media.
So you are doing marketing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I am. But nothing seems good enough, right?
Never. But I mean, it's amazing what social media can do to help an entrepreneur.
Connects you everywhere.
It's amazing.
Yes.
And it gives a place for you to communicate and people to reach out. And
yes.
That's fantastic. Are you just on Instagram? Is that your main?
On Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest.
So you've got those three, and they all do well for you.
They do.
That's fascinating.
They do. Yeah. So it's a slow build.
Well, so in your opinion, what role does inclusivity play in the golf industry, and how do you promote inclusivity and diversity within the sport?
This question is interesting because I've never felt excluded in the golf world. I just think there are ways that we can be better at making it more accessible for women of all skill levels, like I was saying. So where it doesn't seem so scary to walk onto a golf course and say, I've never actually picked up a golf club, but I really want to learn. And part of that, aside from just getting the courage to do that, is I want to be able to feel good when I'm doing something that's new. So I want the clothes to make me feel good so that I can feel courageous enough to go on the golf course with my girls and learn how to play golf anyways. So there's still, I think, room to grow in the golf world where things aren't so catered to the male consumer. I mean, you could just look at the PGA versus LPGA tour right now.
Right.
So PGA events, which are wonderful, they're like giant parties. They're super fun. I love going to them. I go to an LPGA event, also fun, but it's dead quiet. The whole environment is different. There's maybe 1/5 of the people there that would be at a men's event. And just the money that's being put into the men's events versus the women's events, there's a way to merge that eventually. And I think we're getting there, definitely.
I was going to say, are we getting there?
Definitely.
Are we making a little progress? It's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Not enough, fast enough, but we are making some progress.
Definitely making a lot of progress. And that's why I don't like to say that women are excluded, because we're not. It's just not, we're just not at the same level quite yet when it comes to exposure.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be done.
So you're saying they're pretty good female community in Austin?
Yes.
A golf community?
Yes, a big one. That's really
awesome.
Big social golf community here.
I mean, who would have thought that, right?
Right? I know. So
That's
it's really
fantastic.
great. A lot of people picked it up during the pandemic, and they're like, I don't care. I'm not trying to go pro, but I like to play 5 holes, 9 holes, to go to a simulator golf course once in a while with my friends, have a drink or not. And I think it's wonderful. That's exactly what it should be. And that's what I want my brand to encompass too, this next social casual side of the golf world that doesn't have to feel so, oh my God, I have to have a 1 handicap or whatever.
We all think that.
I know I do. I know.
So what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to disrupt traditional industries or like you have with women's golf apparel?
So this is also an interesting question because it's one that I struggled with a little bit when I started. Staying hyper niche with what you're doing, stay focused on your vision. Why I got into this was to community build, but also to bring a streetwear style apparel to the women's golf side of things. And there are so many ways that you can expand too quickly. So golf wear can hit pickleball, it can hit tennis, it could hit a number of other sports, it can hit just general athleisure, which is great and fine. But I feel like if you expand too quickly or not think too large, too big. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but
how did you learn that though? Like, do you think that is that just something that you had in you, or is that something that you've had some mentors, or is it watching your father? How did you come to that? Because that's the exact right answer for any entrepreneurs. we're the next shiny object. We're like,
Yeah.
well, oh, I can do
Yeah.
that. I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. I've definitely had mentors, a number of mentors going through this journey. And the first time I came across this problem was when I was coming up with my name or trademarking my name. Do I do AIEA Athletics or do I do AIEA Golf? And that was the first time that I had to really think about the separation of, I can do both eventually, but let me start, build my base, figure out what the heck I'm doing and how to manufacture clothes and build a community as well, and then expand from there.
Tell me about what the next year looks like for you. So you had the 3 products you've launched. What's the next year look like for you?
So I am very excited because I have my first full line coming out in September, which has the amount of work that goes into one line of clothing. I would have never known. It's taken a year just to do one line.
Do you have to work with, is there a firm that you work with?
Yes.
And where are they? Who are they and who do you work with that helps you get to this spot?
They essentially act as a middleman. They're based in New York that I found them. And the reason why I went to them is because someone took my money and ran when I tried to do it myself. So I lost some money. Manufacturers won't look at you unless you're doing 10,000 units right off the bat. So I needed someone to open the door and say, hey, she's new. This is what she's trying to do. This is her expectations for the next year. Help her out. Or, let's walk her through this process. So I have my first line coming out in September, which is great. And then I just signed my booth for the PGA show in January, which is really exciting. So that's going to be almost like a relaunch of my brand coming up January 2024, where I'm going to have the full scope of my first line. I'm also going to have my full membership program ready by then. So it'll be the full
So you've had in a very short period of time a lot of entrepreneurial lessons. You got taken by a distributor / manufacturer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're having to create your own products.
Having to create my own products.
You're having to trust other people that don't have the same vision that you have.
Right. I've had to ask for help.
You've had to ask for help. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I assume you've had the same struggles as everybody else's. Where's the money going to come from to pay for all this?
Oh God. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Fundraising, looking for investments.
So you bootstrapped this yourself right now.
I did.
Good for you.
I did. Yeah.
So what's the investment look like for you? How does that play out for you?
So if I'm being completely honest, that's another thing that this is my first exposure into finding an investor. So I have been in this process for about 6 months, talking to people, getting to know people, learning, seeing how to pivot, seeing what I need to do. I've done about 1,500 iterations of a pitch deck, and I feel like I'm still not done yet. And so, hopefully soon I'm going to really
And then when you're done, you realize, it wasn't so scary.
Yeah, but right now, learning how to pivot.
I'm sure it's daunting, right?
It's so daunting.
Yeah.
And every dollar, funding this myself. So every dollar is like.
And then every dollar you take from somebody else takes away from.
Right, it feels worse.
It does.
What feels worse? Taking so much.
My experience is if you find the right money, it'll feel real good.
Yeah.
If you find the right money.
Right. Not to jump into it too quickly.
I agree.
I think I was pushed into that a little bit, and I felt scared. Like people were going to take 50% of my business for seemingly not a lot of money. And I'm like, this is my first time doing this, but something doesn't feel right. And going with that gut instinct has helped me so far.
I mean, there are people out there that will love you and love your background and love the story, and they'll want to be a part of what you're doing, and you'll know.
Yeah. Get that feeling. It's all about the feeling.
You'll know.
Okay.
And it's scary, I'm sure. Just that's what I hear and I've done it myself. And it is a little scary when you're taking on people you don't know. Yeah. But just the litmus test is, if they really believe in what you're doing, and it's not only a financial play for them. Right. Then that's a pretty decent way to sort of decipher who's good. Yeah. You find out who people are when money comes into question, right? Yeah. Even asking for it, how personalities change or not, or who will really be there to offer something, and whether you want to take that money or not. So what's your first hire? What are you thinking? Surely you're thinking about that. So what's your first hire you're going to hire for? So I have people right now that are essentially acting as contractors that I'm working with. So I have someone that is helping me build out this membership program, who has been really important to this process. He and I have been working together for the past 9 months. I want to have someone that can help me.
I think with my day-to-day tasks, if I'm being completely honest, helping with managing the flow, the workflow. I've been doing this for 1.5 years now, and still to this day, I cannot figure out how to schedule my day. And I am so structured. In a normal 9 to 5, I'm so structured, but for whatever reason, I can't not work 24 hours a day. I can't do it. And I've learned that the hard way. So.
Well, but I mean, you're just starting.
I am just starting.
You kind of need to do that in a way.
Yeah.
But then you also need to make sure you get people in there to help you. That was what I learned in my second one. I said, I'm going to hire more people faster than I did the first time. I flat out wore my people out the first time. And it's worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll have to know. Yeah. I hear that a lot from entrepreneurs. Well, tell me about the line. I want to know what's in the line. So you got socks, you got a shirt, and you got sunglasses.
Right.
Now what's coming out?
So my collection 1 is coming out, which I'm really excited about. It is 4 pieces. It's a dress, it's a sleeveless top, it's a pair of shorts that are biker short looking, but they're not biker shorts, and a sweater that's a little bit cropped. So all of my stuff, again, is more hitting that athleisure style streetwear look, but it's still appropriate for the golf course.
Going to playing golf.
Yes, at a traditional golf course or not. So, for example, the shorts that I have, they're biker short style, but the fabric is a little bit thicker. It's meant to hold up a little bit more and not be so thin. So I'm really excited to see how people respond to these items. I know I love them, of course. I designed them myself. So
I assume that there's going to be a pop-up store happening here in Austin, Texas.
Absolutely, and you have to come.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. Of course.
Okay, good.
Well, I'm going to end this podcast by asking a question. And before I do so, I always ask the same question at the end of my podcast. I don't know if you have any questions for me, but this is a fascinating story that I love hearing this entrepreneurial story. You just wake up one day and you're like, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to quit my job.
Yeah.
Like so many people can't do that.
Yeah, I know. Took a lot.
Congratulations to you.
I appreciate that.
And welcome to Austin, Texas.
Thank you.
The home of a wonderful entrepreneurial community. Are you finding that out?
I love it here.
Yeah.
I love it here. I didn't know how I would respond, especially moving from New York. I don't plan on moving out of here anytime soon. So I love it.
There's a lot of really neat folks here that are doing some really amazing things.
Yes, absolutely.
Not just tech people.
Right, I know.
We have entrepreneurs of all kinds.
I know.
We have golf entrepreneurs in the apparel world, just like you. Well, tell me a little bit about, the question that I like to ask is, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made?
So I love this question. And I'm going to be a little bit cliche here, but I feel it with every bone in my body that this is true. My most worthwhile investment for me 100% has been investing in myself through this process, recognizing that quitting your job and starting a business and following a passion and really following your vision is not for the faint of heart. And there are so many people out there on social media and otherwise saying, you can make $5,000 today, every day as passive income, just like click XYZ in your computer and whatever. And I found out so fast that those things are not true, and how many people will give you advice without any backing to it, or try to push their programs onto you. And there's a lot coming at you from every angle every single day. And you're going to have to pivot every day, which I wasn't good at, which I didn't realize I wasn't good at until I started this process. So investing in myself, I have had to really take the time to learn how to be balanced and figure out, okay, I'm investing my heart, mind, soul, and pocketbook into this. I need to make sure that every day I'm getting up and I'm balanced in a way that I'm going to be sustainable for my business, so that I can be successful, the business can be successful, and that I can keep my baby going on for as long as I want it to.
What a great answer. And everybody's got their own take. And I think investing in yourself is very important.
It is
and
the
worthwhile.
most important.
That's right. Well, congratulations to you on your success.
Thank you.
Stepping out there into the entrepreneurial world.
Thank you.
And you're going to do great, I can tell.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Best of luck. I can't wait to see your line in January and see you on TV and the LPGA and
I know.
And in the golf shops around the country.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate
that. Nothing but the best to you.
Thank you.
Keep driving.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining Banking on Community from Austin, Texas. today's episode gave you an aha moment, would you let us know? We'd love to hear from you. You can come into one of our branches and share with us what you loved about today's conversation, or reach out to us on social media. Community banking is about solving problems, not just for customers, but for neighbors. If you know someone in our community that would benefit from this conversation, please share this podcast with them.